So how you doing, boss buddies? Now welcome to part 3 of my top 5 best winter fragrances. Now today I'm going to be talking about ouds. So I've got 5 fantastic ouds lined up for you. So come back in just a second and we'll go through those. So welcome back to the Luxury Fragrance Boss channel. My name is Scott, and as I said, today is part 3 of my top 5 winter fragrances series. Today I'm going to be covering ouds. I've already covered woody notes and I covered boozy note fragrances for my top 5s. So today I'm going to be talking about ouds. Now oud is a wonderful, it's a wonderful ingredient. It's perfect for the winter because it tends to be sort of it's quite woody and warming sort of smell to it. So it's something that I really do enjoy, and a lot of people do, especially over in sort of the like the eastern countries and places like that. They really like to use sort of incense and ouds and things like that. So I've picked out 5 of what I think, 5 of my favourite ouds in my collection, or that I've smelled recently over the last few months. So going straight in with my number 5. Now in number 5, I picked one that was bought for me by my wife for my 40th birthday. Very nice gift that was very unexpected. She knew that I did love this fragrance. It was also a brand that was quite new to the company that I work for, and that's Acqua de Parma. We picked up this brand I want to say just over a year ago, and I was really looking forward to getting sort of some of their fragrances in and really sort of getting to smell them. Now this one comes off of their top shelf. What I mean by that is it comes in the dark bottles. These are sort of the more expensive ones. The Colonia Oud by Acqua de Parma I just think is such a beautiful oud. It's the way that they've used it and blended this one. It's got a little sweetness to it, which is something I really do like. I mean, it kind of smells like an oak office, I want to say, really. That's the fragrance that I get that's the smell that I get when I smell this one. I mean, there's not too much woody notes in there. In the top, you've got citrus, which is something that Acqua de Parma are known for. It's something that gives like a lot of their fragrances a kind of sort of fresher scent to them. I mean, that's definitely something that you're going to smell in the top of this one as well, which is quite nice. I mean, because of those citrus notes, I find I can wear this one all the way through the summer and in the hot weather here in Cayman, and it's just that fresh citrus sort of scent just gives it a nice little pop, so it's not sort of overwhelmingly sort of dark when it comes to being an oud. This is quite a light one and quite a sweet one that I do really enjoy. Now in the heart notes you got oud, Russian coriander and Haitian Amyris wood, and in the base notes you got musk and leather. So this one, the musk and the leather is something that I really sort of detect in this one, even probably more so than the oud itself. But yeah, I mean, there's just a beautiful sort of blend of notes. But like I say, this one to me just smells like when you go into somebody's office and it smells sort of very luxurious, like you've got an oak desk with like a leather, insert or something like that. And that's the kind of smell that I get from this one. It's a very luxurious but very sort of sweeter smelling oud when it comes to it. So in my number 5 position is Colonia Oud by Acqua de Parma. Right, so moving into my number 4. For number 4, I've gone for a new fragrance that I only found actually a couple of weeks ago. Well, not even that, in fact. It's something that I wore, I think it was at the end of last week, and I really did enjoy this one. And that is from the house of Dyptique, and this one is called Oud Palao, I believe it's pronounced. I can't be 100% sure because I'd never actually heard of this one. However, I mean, this one I really did enjoy it. It did take a little while though. When I first sprayed this on, this one does smell quite nasty when you first spray it on. Like the opening of it, I'd say for probably about the first sort of hour to hour and a half, but then it does turn into something very beautiful. In the opening, it's pretty strong in the patchouli is what I get, and it makes it kind of sort of a skanky smell. It's not something that I really enjoyed. I thought we made a mistake when I had put it on. But then after, like I say, after that first hour and a half, and then it starts to develop and it starts to settle down and it does become really beautiful. There's some vanilla in this one which comes out as well, which sweetens it and it softens it, and this turns into, I mean, this one I found sort of a very unique oud. It's not something that I've really sort of smelled anything like before. I mean, there's a whole bunch of notes in there. I'm going to put the notes list in underneath, because some of them I'm not even sure how to pronounce. I'm going to have a go. So you've got Bulgarian rose in there, you've got Laotian oud, you've got Indian Cypriol, Sri Lankan sandalwood. Again, so I mean, you've got the woody notes that come out of this one. I mean, the patchouli does stick around in this one, which I'll get onto in just a second. You've got Somalian Olibanum, Madagascan vanilla, which, as I said, it does stand out. This one, once it dries down, you do get that sort of sweetness of the vanilla, and it does tone it down into something very, very beautiful. You've got Spanish Cistus and Indonesian patchouli, which I said is quite heavy in this one. But yeah, I mean, this one is one I rarely sort of get. Not rarely, I guess. A couple of the fragrances I'm going to talk about are sort of well complemented fragrance that I've worn in the past. But this one did actually draw a compliment, and it must have been quite strong, because I mean, where I sit in my office, it's about 9 feet away from the door, and every now and then somebody will come through and they'll pop their head in and say what they can smell is nice, and obviously it's whatever it is I'm wearing that day. But yeah, the lady that actually stopped by, I can't think which one it was. Oh, when I was wearing Amber Sky by Ex Nihilo, she stopped by and she asked me what I was wearing the day that I was actually wearing this one, because she said it smelled very, very nice. So, I mean, Oud Palao obviously got good projection. The longevity of this one was definitely way better than any of the other diptyques that I've tried. Something I've found with Dyptique, the ones that I've tried, like Eau de Well, there's a couple of other ones, I think Tamdal, and there was a couple of other ones that I've tried. I found the longevity of them to be pretty poor. I mean, that could just be on my skin. However, this one did really, really last. This one was still going, so I could smell this even when I went to bed, and even my wife didn't like it when I first sprayed it on, but she did like the smell of it later on when I came back home from work or after the gym, and we were sort of cuddling up together. So she did enjoy it, but yes, I mean, she was the first person to say that smells disgusting when I first sprayed it on first thing in the morning as I said goodbye to her. So in number 4 position, you got Oud Palao by Dyptique. Right, so moving into my top 3, it was very, very hard to put these in 1, 2 and 3 position. Now, if you do watch my channel regularly, you will know a couple of these are my absolute favourites when it comes to sort of these types of scents. It was hard to choose, as I said, 1, 2, 3, but number 3 has to be from the House of Creed, and that's Royal Oud. This is an oud that I really do enjoy. I think this is sort of one of the nicest blended ouds that there are out there. This isn't the strongest fragrance when it comes to the House of Creed, which I don't mind. The longevity of this one is fantastic. This one will go on all day and night, I find, on my skin anyway. I mean, this one is sort of a little bit more expensive than you're going to find the regular ones like the Viking and the Aventus. This one you're looking at around an extra, it's normally around $65, $70 on top of the regular prices of Creed. So I know duty free I paid, I think it was $450 for this one, compared to sort of the $350 or $365 for the Aventus, or sort of the mid or the main range of them. So yeah, I mean, this one is definitely a very, very beautiful, very, very luxurious smelling Creed. An oud. Something that I see every now and then on sort of forums, that people tend to get like a sort of hamster cage smell with this one. I really don't get that at all. I don't know whether mine's maybe out of a different batch that doesn't sort of give off that smell, or whether it's a certain batch that does give off that hamster cage smell. With me, this one really doesn't do. This one to me is such a beautiful, well-balanced, luxurious smelling oud. I mean, something that makes this sort of really pop, the top notes, I find, it just gives it, although it's a very sort of warm and perfect winter fragrance, it has got a little bit of freshness in the top of it. Now, what I mean by that is, in the top notes, you've got Calabrian lemon, you've got pink berry and Sicilian bergamot, all which really sort of pop, I find, off the top. And they sort of tend to stay, even though they're the top notes, they don't sort of tend to sort of disappear completely. They tend to stick around. In the heart notes, you've got Cedar, Galbanum and Angelica root. And in the base notes, you've got Indian Oud, Sandalwood and Tonkin musk. So, I mean, it is quite a musky fragrance to me, it's beautiful with the cedar wood and the sandalwood, and then also the oud that's in there as well. It just makes, to me, I personally find this a very, very luxurious smelling fragrance, a very beautiful sort of, with those tiny sort of fruity notes and the citrus in it, just makes it a stunning fragrance. I think it's definitely one of my favourites from the House of Creed, definitely one of the best ones that they've produced. So in number 3, you've got Creed's Royal Oud. So moving into my top 2 now, as I said, if you watch my channel regularly, you will know that the last couple are absolute favourites of mine. It's hard to sort of really choose between the 2 of these, which one should be 1 and 2. I think they're pretty much, they pretty much level when it comes to me. But for my number 2, I'm going to have to go with Penhaligons Halfeti. These are both beast mode fragrances, the last 2 that I'm going to go with. Now Halfeti is there's a lot of ingredients in this one, but I find this one a really beautiful use of the oud in this one. I mean, this one is definitely a darker fragrance. It's definitely sort of a more spicier version of sort of anything that I've spoken about before. It's not quite so woody, this one. You definitely sort of more spices and things like that, which give this a very sort of, it's just absolutely stunning smell. This is one of my most complimented fragrances as well. And as I said, it is beast mode. So if you are looking for something stronger and you're looking for sort of those ouds and maybe a little bit of incense or something like that, and something with some spices and herbs in it, this one really is, I mean, I fell in love with this one the very first moment I smelled it. Unfortunately, I missed the opportunity to actually buy the fragrance there and then. They only had 1 bottle in the San Francisco boutique, and I walked off to let it sort of settle down on my wrist. By the time I come back, they'd sold that 1 bottle that was left, so I had to wait until, funny enough, around the same time that my wife got me the oud. My parents also brought this over for me for my 40th birthday, which I was very, very happy about because it's a fragrance that I've wanted for a long, long time. Well, I'd been waiting sort of about 6 months for it, really. It's one that's, although it is available on the island that I live on, it's very, very expensive here for some reason. The company that sells this in Grand Cayman doesn't sell it at duty free, and it's more expensive than what you pay in the States. So it's there's definitely a massive saving when it comes to buying it in England, especially if you're buying it duty free. It works out a lot less than what you're going to find it for in the States. Otherwise, I mean, for the price of this one, you're looking at around $210, which is a very, very good price for a quality fragrance like this one, and such a beautiful and well complemented fragrance. Now, some of the notes that you got in this one, in the top notes, you got grapefruit, Bergamot, green notes, and Armoise. In the heart notes, you've got lavender, cardamom, cumin, nutmeg, saffron, violet, cinnamon, rose, jasmine, cypress, and muguet. And then in the base notes, you've got leather, oud, amber, resins, cedarwood, patchouli heart, tonka, vanilla, sandalwood, and musk. So there's a whole bunch of ingredients in this one, but they just go together to make something that I think is just absolutely incredible. And if you're looking for something sort of a perfect sort of wintry fragrance, I mean, this could probably go down in sort of woody fragrances as well. It's sort of a crossover fragrance. But yeah, the notes that are in this one just make it absolutely stunning. So in number 2, you got my Penhaligons Halfeti. Right, so into the top spot. Now, if you watch my channel regularly, you will know this one is absolutely one of my favorites. It's one of my most complimented and definitely one of the strongest fragrances that I own. This is such amazing use of the oud in this one. And this is really, I mean, this one is really like anything else that I actually own in my collection. I guess Halfeti is probably the one that comes closest to it. But this one, the notes in this one and like the incense and things like that just go to making just an absolutely stunning woody, but very sort of oudy fragrance as well. And that is Armoise's Interlude Man. Now this one's known as the Blue Beast because this one is absolute beast mode. Now I talked about how strong the Halfeti was. This one's even stronger. This is one of those scents that will absolutely fill up a room, but it's one that's absolutely perfect for winter. Now I do wear this in 90 degrees of heat out here, and I will wear it during the day. Now I've built up a sort of a larger collection. I tend to wear this more in the evenings or something maybe like a special occasion or something like that, especially if I want to get noticed, because this one is definitely one that attracts attention. This is one that when I do wear it, I do get quite a few people stop and ask me what I'm wearing, because they just love how sort of smoky and woody it is. But yeah, this one, to me, to me, what happens is I just find like a sweetness in the other notes that are in this one. I mean, just going over the notes quickly, in the top notes you've got bergamot, oregano and allspice, and then in the heart notes you've got amber, opoponax, incense and cistus, and in the base notes you've got leather, oud, patchouli and sandalwood. I mean, it's hard to sort of describe sort of really what these notes sort of, or if any of these notes sort of really pop out, but together they just make something that smells just like a very, very sexy bonfire, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I mean, just the use of the sort of sandalwoods and the incense and things like that in this one just makes it a very, very, sort of smoky and very, very sexy sort of smelling fragrance. This one is not for everybody though. It is a very, very love it or hate it fragrance. To me, I absolutely adore it. My wife adores it. This is the one I actually wore for my wedding, which is also coming up to almost a year ago now. As I got married on New Year's Day. But yeah, this is one of my favorites in my collection. It's one that I will always have in my collection. As I said, the Blue Beast. Now, when it comes to the longevity of this one, this is one, I mean, this one and Halfeti I find exactly the same thing with. I could wear this for a day, I could go and train in the gym, I could go out for the evening or something like that, and I'll wake up the next morning, I can have a shower and I can still smell this on my skin. So that's how strong this one is. And when it comes to projection, this one is monstrous. So, I mean, definitely one of my strongest fragrances. Well, I'd say probably it has to be my strongest fragrance that I actually own, but also one of my favorites. I just love that, the smokiness and the incense in this one. I think it's just such a perfectly made fragrance. So that's why that one hits the #1 in my top 5 winter fragrances when it comes to ouds. So that's my top 5 there. Please let me know what your top 5s would be. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions, and let me know what your top 5 ouds would be. Obviously, I only get to test out so many fragrances per week, so I've only got one face. But yeah, I mean, I'm still out there exploring, and I know there's probably going to be quite a few fans of Tom Ford's Oud Wood, which I do like. I've never had the chance to wear it though. I've only had the chance to sort of smell it in a store, but never really sort of picked up a sample or anything like that. I'm not a big fan of Tom Ford fragrances overall, so that's probably why I've never sort of really picked them up. I think there's so many sort of great niche houses out there, much smaller houses that definitely need more exploring, rather than sort of a larger sort of, I'd say, more expensive designer fragrance like the Tom Ford collection. I mean, obviously they've got a lot of fans. But to me, I enjoy sort of, like I say, picking out the smaller houses and stuff like that, and sort of the lesser known companies, and finding some sort of real gems out there. So, as I said, that's my top 5. So please like, comment and subscribe. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you think of my top 5. As I said, let me know your top 5. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram as well. You can find me at Luxury Fragrance Boss. That way you can keep up to date with my scent of the day, any videos that I got dropping, anything like that. Also, make sure you hit that notification button right below the screen here. That way you'll never miss a video, because I do release them sort of around 5 to 7 times a week, sometimes more than that. So definitely make sure you stick around. I do apologise if I've sort of stumbled my words a little bit today. It was my wife's office Christmas party last night, so it was a very, very late night and there was a lot of drinking involved. So other than that, stay smelling fantastic. I hope you look forward to part 4, which I haven't decided which one it will be yet. It's going to be either gourmands, or I can't remember the other one, or gourmands or tobaccos. So that will be on Thursday when I release that video. So I look forward to seeing you very, very soon in my next video, and thank you very much for watching.